The cast shop has become a massive problem in Final Fantasy XIV, and before you think I'm being hyperbolic, I'll give some examples. Why isn't the Shadow Wolf a blue mage reward mount for doing blue mage content now that the blue mage has been updated to level 80, which is for the Shadowbringers expansion? This mount is actually the 10th Eden raid boss called the Shadowkeeper. This would have tied in incredibly, beautifully well as a blue mage reward for clearing the raid tier. Instead, it's in the store for $24 US. Or take the Magitech attire, which would have made an extremely awesome reward if we had a, say, Boja throwback, or maybe tie it to the new Deep Dungeon. Or imagine if this was a non-tradable reward from Criterion Savage. People would practically be throwing themselves at Criterion for this, myself included. This set's incredible and I love it. But really, the straw that broke the camel's back for me was this recent Iceheart Glamour Set that can be replicated in-game for free quite easily. This is a cash shop item. Dare I say that this would be pretty cool in-game throwback reward for, say, doing 20 or maybe even 50 clears of Shiva Extreme Synced, just as a throwback and to kind of pay homage to the origination of the character. We could of course get more creative than that, but you get my point. Final Fantasy XIV's rewards are being siphoned out of the base game and put into the cash shop. There was a decent bit of concern when the Cruise Chaser mount was added to the shop quite a while ago at this point, but that is another epic raid boss that was turned into a mount that is being sold on the cash shop for quite a bit of US, quite a bit. And if we're just direct about this problem, it only really seems to have been growing with no signs of it stopping. Counter to what people will tell me, because I am raising an issue with the game, which does definitely get a lot of people really upset, I'm saying this as a long-time player of Final Fantasy XIV, as someone who loves the game, as someone who has gone through a very, very, very dark thing many years ago that literally used this game and its community to survive. I literally have said, and I do mean it, and I'm not being hyperbolic, this game saved my life. This game matters to me, and the developers matter to me, even if I am a nobody, nothing has been shitter, nothing creator that I doubt that they even know exists. I love this game and I love the developers. This cash shop domination isn't healthy for the game. A reward system that was added, that I don't want to say was added recently, but in the game's entire lifespan, relatively recently added, was Moogle Tomestones, which is a currency that we can earn through doing various activities to trade for various rewards that directly pumps life into many forms of content, such as Rival Wings, which Rival Wings, honestly, frankly, does not get nearly enough attention, nearly enough love. It is really good content. Now, with that idea in mind, imagine for a second if Criterion Savage actually had awesome rewards. Now, don't tell me Criterion isn't pretty great content in itself. It introduces a ton of really neat, really cool novel mechanics like Silky with the elemental puffs. Even if we're just looking at it from a fight design perspective, it's simply awesome. It's a very well designed match, and that's literally the first boss of the first Criterion dungeon, and it is just really, really beautifully done. Or what if Blue Mage did give you the Shadowkeeper mount for clearing the entire raid tier? That'd be absolutely fantastic. People would be very, very, very motivated to get that done. Or say that Magitech set, and that was a throwback to get people to inspired to try old but still very valid and still very awesome content like Baldessian's Arsenal. For a lot of people, well, how to say it? Baldessian's Arsenal is like a cult classic in this community. There are so many players that live, breathe, and die by Baldessian's Arsenal. They run it all the time. And that is still something that absolutely has a huge following, actually, genuinely. I'm not just saying that. Baldessian's Arsenal definitely has circles of players that love it and do it all the time. But the problem is, the general player base probably doesn't even know what that is. Players joining from Shadowbringers are probably like, what the fudge is a BA? I could make a ton of jokes here, but I'm going to leave that for you guys in the comments. Some ideas that could be really cool as ways to earn the Magitech armor would be maybe set weekly progress checkpoints, where if you say earn at least 3 elemental levels per week for, say, 4 different weeks, just a little currency that you accumulate on the side, you slowly progress to unlocking the set. That way you don't even need to really outright clear Baldessian's Arsenal, and it's just a way to get people to wet their tongue or just sample the content and see, hey, maybe Eureka's really cool content, because I can tell you a lot of people in Baldesion's Arsenal love it. That's the last time I'm mentioning it in this video, I swear. I know people are going to pitchfork me if I say it again. Now hear me out, maybe multiple other paths would be great too to earn rewards, like the Shadowbringer Relic Quest let players do content in Boja, or provided alternatives like, say, running Palace of the Dead in order to collect time-worn artifacts. I thought that kind of strategy was remarkably healthy for the game. But really, guys, I'm spitballing here. It could be any assortment of things. And this is a problem of Final Fantasy XIV right now, is Final Fantasy XIV, frankly, has a ton of content that newer players don't even know exists, let alone are exposed to. Yes, I'm confident that some of the players that started in Shadowbringers have no idea what A Realm Reborn relic is. And not because they're dumb, it is just because they're not introduced to it. Or they're like, what on earth is a Eureka? Wait, there's a Monster Hunter collaboration where you can get a Rathalos? And that's not meant to sound snarky or sarcastic either. This is just things that are not communicated to them or shown to them, and so they have like this microscopic, teeny tiny little world view of a little slice of the game instead of like a decade's worth of content. But, and it's a massive Nicki Minaj sized but, while I stand by what I just said, a lot of players who may have played diligently for the past 3 or more years or decade like me, god, I feel old now. I was so young when I started. But and let's say they are veteran players and they did knock out, say, every single relic in Boja, which yes, I really did do that and I didn't regret it. I love Boja. I think it's great. But the problem is, now you're hitting the reward and incentive wall, or have already hit it as a veteran player. And that's where I can tell you, I love Boja, and I stand by what I said many years ago now, that it was amazing content, that it unified the players, that it really made the game feel like an MMORPG, and there was so much chatter, talk, liveliness, and the unique content broke the mold of the patch cycle. But the issue is these awesome old forms of content, we just haven't been given the reward to get people to check back into them again. Like, I know that I said it before, but take that Magitech Glamour out of the cash shop, literally stick it into any form of content that you want to see activity in, and you will immediately, and I mean immediately, stimulate growth in that form of content without modifying that content at all. No reworks, no major overhauls, no new UI assets or anything, just simply slap a shiny sparkly new reward on that content, and I guarantee you will stimulate people to go and check it out, whether they're a brand new player that's never heard about Eureka, or they're an old player who has long since cleared Baldesion's Arsenal. If you want me to point at a case scenario, is look at Island Sanctuary, at how many people did Island Sanctuary almost explicitly for the glamours in it that are unlocked with Island Calories. Tons of people, and I definitely, that glamour has some reasons why people did that. But really, it comes back down to, this video was inspired by the Iceheart Glamour Set, which was the straw that broke the camel's back. I genuinely don't think it's healthy for the game. We keep seeing amazing rewards that could have been in the game, incentivizing people to actually do things in the game, stripped out of the game and put behind a paywall. And in this video, I'm also ignoring a very real reality of this, which I don't really want to dive too much into, but there are tons of people financially struggling these days. I'm trying to avoid a long discussion on inflation and stuff, or the fact that, like, US apparently has official government officials saying people are going to run out of savings at the end of October. Like, there are people that I know that are considering if they can afford their subscription to the game, let alone another cosmetic set that costs $20 USD or another mount that costs 40 USD. I love our developers, but at this point, it's tone deaf. I'll go so far as to say that's getting to the point where it's upsetting to me personally to know many people who I talk to, who watch my videos, who talk to me in voice chat and Discord, who I interact with on a constant basis, to see these expensive new rewards, and given their pay-to-play game, the buy expansions, pay a subscription, it sucks to see another $40 amount. And they're like, well, here we go again. And it just feels bad.